What have you thought of Luka so far as a Laker? I want you guys to do me a favor, okay? This is not a conversation about the trade. This is not a conversation about Anthony Davis. This is not a conversation about the future. This is not a conversation about any of those things. I'm talking about since Luka Doncic became a Laker and started playing with the Los Angeles Lakers. I'm going to give you guys three options here, and I'm genuinely curious. Okay, is he better than you thought? Is he exactly what you thought, or has he been less than what you thought? Again, I'm talking about what you've seen from Luka on a night in, night out basis as a Los Angeles Laker. I'm not talking about the offseason. I'm not talking about 3 years from now. I'm not talking about 5 years from now. I'm not talking about Nico Harrison and the AD. I'm not talking about any of that. I'm talking about the games that you've seen Luka, because here's what's happening. A lot I see in the comments is people, maybe they're bitching and complaining about Luka. If you're bitching and complaining about Luka because you think the Lakers shouldn't have been made that trade, I don't really know what to tell you. Every general manager would have made that trade, and to overreact like that off a game or two or something like that, doesn't make any sense to me. That's why I'm asking the question, from what you've seen so far, is he better than you thought? Is he exactly what you thought he was going to be? Or is he less than what you thought? I'll give you my opinion first. Okay? So far, Luka is a Laker. To me, I have this perception of Luka that I used to watch in the playoffs. I didn't watch him every night, right? I just watched Luka in the postseason and everything else. Luka so far, to me, my perception of Luka coming to the Lakers was like, oh my God, this is top 5 player in the league. This guy's going to be dropping 32, 8 and 8 a night, and it's just going to look so easy for him. I think so far Luka as a Laker been a little underwhelming. It has been. It has not been better than I thought. I think it's closer to what I thought, but I think it leans more towards less than what I thought. Luka has not been as good as I thought in the games so far that he's been a Los Angeles Laker. It has nothing to do with what he's going to potentially do down the road. It has nothing to do with what he'll be in the playoffs, which, by the way, he's one of the few players that takes their game from superstar status to whatever status is above that. He typically does that in the playoffs. His numbers in the postseason are better than his numbers in the regular season, which if you guys follow the NBA, not too many players outperform what they do in the regular season, especially superstars like that. They take their game to another level. So Luka could be a completely different level in a couple of weeks from now. But I'm only talking about the games that Luka has played so far. It's been underwhelming to me. I thought it would be more. That's it. And you know, the problem with, I think sometimes we all get caught up in this, well, why this? And they should have done this. No. I'm just talking about what you've seen so far from Luka. Better than you thought, exactly what you thought, or less than what you thought. Let me read some of the comments here. This is why it's good to do this, because I think I'll probably have a lot of people that disagree with me on this. Probably a lot. Here's kind of the crazy thing too. Luka in a bad night, a bad game, can still give you 28, 8 and 8 in a bad game. They're just, I didn't play well. Yeah, I mean, obviously yesterday he did not play well. He genuinely did not play well yesterday. All right, let's see what we got here. No, I disagree. I would not. You say not a fair question to ask after his worst game. No, I disagree. I think you could still take his entire body of work. Let's say last night's game didn't even happen. Let's say last night's game didn't even come. And I don't want to propose. Maybe you're right that the timing is bad that I'm asking the question. But I think you could still look at his body of work as a Laker and give your opinion on that and give your thoughts on that and still be genuine about it. I know he's coming off the game yesterday where he didn't play well. I know that. And maybe, to make this fair, maybe I asked the same question when he's coming off a game where he absolutely balled out. But that is my thoughts up to this point. Let's see what else we got here. Luka may be slow on defense, but he's got more steals than Reeves, DFS, Goodwin, and Vando. Okay, somebody defending Luka here. Want to see Luka in his best conditioning. Okay, probably probably wouldn't happen until next year. Let's get another one here. C+. Based on expectations, he's been awesome versus Denver, but his shooting efficiency has been bad overall. His mid-range game has been a huge letdown now that teams are taking away the lob. This is a thoughtful comment that I think is taking – I love this. Expectations, C+ on expectations. He's been awesome versus Denver, but his shooting efficiency – I think that's a very, very fair assessment. And I don't think that's leaning off of a win last night, a loss last night. I don't think it's leaning off of one performance. Keep going here. Do we care about Luka during the regular season or playoff time? I think both, James. I think James, because how he plays in the regular season may dictate how far the Lakers go in the postseason because of seeding, because of matchups, because of home court advantage. So I think both are very important. So I think both of those are very critical. But I think it's a fair argument to make, and I appreciate you bringing it up. Now, obviously, the noise gets louder in the playoffs, but last night was pretty loud. I think last night most people were walking away saying, Luka, you got to get more. Got to get more from Luka. He's got to be better. And one of the first things, I heard from Luka, and this is something I appreciate more from star players. When star players are the ones that say, this isn't going to get it done. I can't play like this in order for us to get to where we want to get to. Luka didn't shy away from that yesterday. It's the first thing Luka mentioned. One of the first thing Luka mentions, my performance was unacceptable. Let me actually read the quote. I have it here. He called his performance unacceptable. I'll read the exact quote here. See if I could find it here. Let's see if I can find it here. All these quotes. The performance from me is unacceptable. Yeah, I mean, basically, I had already said it. So I looked all that way for a good quote, and then I had already read it. All right, let me take a look at a couple more comments. I want more people's thoughts here. Need to play more defense. Okay, people critical about his defense. Okay, Luka will be fine. He's going to step it up. Jasmine, but that's not the question. I think, again, I don't really – the future is going to be the future. I'm just asking what he's done so far. What do you think of his game so far as a Laker? Because we all got expectations, and I think all of us probably had unrealistic expectations right out the gate. All of us did, because it's freaking Luka Doncic. Okay, well, maybe he did. Maybe we didn't give this man enough time to say, okay, well, he's got to get into a rhythm. I mean, frankly, if somebody says, Al, whatever he does this year, I think is just gravy. Nothing's going to matter until the offseason next year, once the Lakers kind of start building their roster around him. You can even make that case. But I'm talking about what you've seen so far from Luka. That's why I kind of presented it with those three questions. Better than you thought it was going to be, exactly what you thought it was going to be, or less than what you thought it was going to be. All right, let me take a look at a couple more of these comments here. Fair point. Can't wait until they build around Luka. This is basically a team created for AD and LeBron with Luka on it. It's not designed for Luka. You're not wrong on that. You're not wrong on that. I mean, I don't want, I'm going to read this comment from Adam. Luka's not the problem. Your shit players like Gabe and DFS are. Adam, again, I'm not telling you Luka's a problem. I'm asking what you think of Luka so far. That's all. The roster is not perfect. I'm going to take you guys back. The day Luka Doncic became a Los Angeles Laker, a couple days later, there was a press conference. There was a presser, and one of my questions, I got a chance to ask a question to Rob Pelinka, and I asked Rob, there was a couple days left before the trade deadline, and I asked Rob, how do you think long-term, also knowing that in the short term, the roster is what it is, and you still got a couple days before the trade deadline? Right out the gate, before I even finish my sentence, he's like, we know this roster is incomplete. It's not a perfect roster, obviously. And then they, by the way, tried making the trade for Mark Williams, and then you kind of build from there. Everybody knows that this roster is not, it's not built the way their vision will be, where they can, for the first time, start kind of figuring out what the roster is going to be starting in the offseason. And if that's the argument people want to make, is like, Well, until that team is built around him properly, then you're never going to get the best version of Luka. I guess you can say that. I don't see the top 3 player in the world. Frankly, right now, the way he's been playing, where would you put Luka? Let me just kind of look at this. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Nikola Jokic, Steph Curry, Anthony Edwards. Just trying to look at teams right now. Jason Tatum. Just looking at teams right now that are competing. After that, I'm not 100% sure. You know, where you put Giannis. I don't know where you're putting Jalen Brunson. I don't know where you're putting Donovan Mitchell. I'm just not watching these teams enough, right? I don't know where you're putting Cade Cunningham, you know, if you want to kind of start looking at teams that are in the playoffs. So wherever he is, I know that there's definitely some players in front of him. Let's get another one here. It's wild. Fair point here. Let's hear it. It's wild how Luka won us multiple games and we already are out on him. Let's be better, Laker fans. Who's out on him, Joe? Who's out on him? I hope you're not referring to me. Day to day, do a talk show every single day, Monday through Friday, right here at 8 a.m. And I appreciate you being here and I appreciate you hanging out. It's good to have conversations like this. Nobody's saying they're giving up on Luka. I'm just asking what you think of Luka so far. To me, Lakers traded for Luka on February 1st. I had this expectation that was unrealistic. I've got a chance, or 2 months now, month and a half, whatever it is, since Luka's been playing. It hasn't lived up to what my hype was personally. That doesn't mean that it's not going to start tonight. That doesn't mean he hasn't had great performances before. When he had the performance at Denver, 123-100, he was talking shit while he's hitting shots and looking at Christian Brown, basically saying, hey, why don't you come up and play me a little bit more? You can't let me shoot that 3. That's probably the real version of Luka Doncic. But part of the job also is to watch, be a little bit more critical. What are the strengths? What are the weaknesses? Luka ain't going anywhere, and I don't think anybody's asking for him to go anywhere. But of course, we got to be critical. So far, my grade for him is a solid B because he's not 100% yet. When he's in NBA shape, he will rise to an A. Hawkman, it's April 4th. Hopefully that, I want guys to be not in basketball shape in August, in October, not in April. But obviously he was coming off the injury as well. All right, let's get a couple more of these, and then we'll keep moving on. All right, Sliwa, you're out on him. Unfair question today. Ask that question, LeBron, after Lakers lose, and he had 10 turnovers. It's awesome. Now I'm going to be labeled as I'm out on him. I expect Luka to be a huge playoff riser. He has always been. Yeah, and I think the key is here. To an extent, the regular season obviously means a lot because of seeding and because of standings. But I think on the other side of it is what you do in the playoffs is what people remember. That's it. So if Lakers got the Golden State Warriors in the first round and Luka is the best player in the series, nobody's going to give a rat's ass to the Lakers losing to the Warriors on Thursday, April 3rd. All right, thank you very much for watching the clip. Just want to give a shout out here to one of our partners, the Wallace Firm. They are official injury attorney of the Sliwa Show and Hoops Talk, the entire channel. If you are ever in a need, and I hope you're not, but some type of serious injury with yourself or a family member of yours, I would like to personally help you by introducing you to the best in the business, Brad Wallace and the Wallace Firm. Also got a URL out here that you can use as well. Just go to wallacewins.com/Sliwa. Thank you for their partnership, and thank you for being a part of the Sliwa Show.